Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Trent and Zyori podcast. It is March 1st, 2019, 9 a.m. on the dot here Mountain Time. This is episode number 141. We're back after 2 weeks. Trent has spent a lot of time casting in the interim. We just finished off our auto chess tournament and all sorts of other dramas for us to talk about, Trent. DMCA is in the air again. I thought that was one we'd already figured out. We'd talked about to death, but apparently there's still a little confusion. Somebody somewhere out there hasn't read the fine print on how Digital Millennium Copyright Act law works. But
that is true.
We will digress into that, my friend. How are you doing on this beautiful Friday morning?
I'm wonderful. As I was explaining, we had swimming lessons again, so it's been great with the baby. That was my last time going to the pool, as I'll be away for the next one, and then he's done. He only has 1 week left. So he started when he was about 7.5 or 8 months old or so, and now he's about to be a year old in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So he's much better at swimming now. He can be submerged in the water and without like hating it. He loves seeing the pool. He kicks his legs now. Obviously, he can't like swim, but he's starting like he actually does like hand motions and he kicks his feet and stuff. So it's been a ton of fun. Thoroughly enjoying it.
So he's a natural, huh? Showing some early enthusiasm for the aquatics.
He'll be a mott in no time.
Okay, good. That's great. Man, what if he does take a liking to swimming? That would be funny, huh?
Maybe... I tell you, I wasted my potential because I got these long-ass arms. I got like 4 inches on my wingspan compared to my height. I could have been a swimmer, dude.
Wow.
You know?
That's actually crazy. I think you're pretty disproportionate. I never noticed that you had
really am.
Lanky arms.
Yeah, they're lanky, all right. Yeah, they get out there.
Well, that's very nice. Glad to hear things are going well in your world.
And you, my sir, on a Friday.
Yes?
How art thou?
Oh, my. Well, it's a nice, relaxing Friday here. I went skiing yesterday, recovering from a day of crisp central. No fresh flakes, unfortunately. So it was a whole bunch of groomers, but it's been a lot of fun trying to get some use out of my ski pass. Because I actually traveled a lot in December of last year, a fair bit in January. This has been the first month that I've actually been home for an extended period. So I've been trying to hit the slopes and decompress a little bit, get a little bit of nature time in there. Trent, it's important.
Yeah, I look forward to coming there hopefully again sometime for the swim or for the skiing.
Dude,
so good.
We're going to Utah in a couple weeks with Carlo's family for a big trip. So we're gonna hit the other side of the Rockies over there.
Damn, dude. Mormon country.
Hell,
is that right?
Yeah.
Isn't that Utah?
It is, yeah. Utah, I think still it's the only state in America that has more than 50% of one religion. And that's Mormon. So no other state is even more than no other state is majority one religion over 50%. I'm pretty sure Utah is. Let's go.
Seriously?
Yep.
That sounds insane.
It is insane. That's how many Mormons are out there. Yeah, here we go. So right now, the first hit that I got.
Wow, 60%?
Yeah, 55% was the number that I saw for Mormon.
And then
insane.
It has, although only 41.6% of Utahns are active members. I mean, that's even more insane. When I heard 60%, I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of like all the kids and stuff who haven't left and shit, but 40% active?
Right.
What the fuck?
Well,
that's insane. That's like a cult, dude. You have a full cult that actually believes in that, like, the Native Americans were the cursed children of Israel or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I do know that it's very all in, right? It's polarizing. You're either on their team or you're not on their team. So they're nice to you. They'll invite you, but if you say no or you're like, guys, I'm not interested. I'm not going to be a Mormon. Sorry, don't waste your time on me. They'll be like, all right, you're out. So a lot of people that need that sense of community, man, if they're on the fence, it's like, well, I don't want to be out. It sucks.
Wow.
Nobody wants to be out.
That is crazy. I had no idea it was that high of a percentage. My God.
So we are heading over to Mormon country. They have got a lot of funky laws over there, too. You can't get like a proper alcoholic drink. They have limits on how much alcohol can be served as like one drink at a bar. So if you order a martini, it's like a third of the martini glass filled with booze because it can only be one shot or like 1.5 shots or something. All sorts of stuff. But it's been nice to get outside and reconnect with nature a little bit. I definitely am one of those people that, all things equal, will just sort of stay inside and sit on the computer for days on end. And I have to admit, Trent, it's not healthy. I feel better when I get out there and get a little bit of exercise and get the blood flowing and get some fresh air. See the mountains and remember how small we are.
Actually, I noticed when I was in LA the mountains, they actually looked like the Colorado mountains. This is the first time I've ever been to LA when it's like winter time.
Okay.
You know, as winter time as they get. There was actually so much snow in the mountains. I mean, to be fair, all of the drivers I had kept saying it every single time of, "Oh my God, I've never seen so much snow on the mountains." They actually looked they looked like you could have skied on them, frankly.
Probably.
But
I mean, I
it
think
was
in SoCal you're not that far away from skiable mountains.
no, I think it's like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, we drive an hour and a half to the good mountains we like, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say everything's 2 hours driving in LA though, because driving in
True.
LA.
True.
That
So
is,
you were just in LA for what was it, my friend? MDL Macau, right?
Yep. That was a great way to get the invite. It was basically, yo, Trent, are you invited to ESL? No. All right, cool. Want to come to MTL at the Summit, or at the Summit Studio? Hell yeah.
Well, there you go.
Best invite I never got, man.
I saw you guys were tri-casting the Trent, Grant, Draskell cast. I think.
I mean,
definitely a highlight.
That's a dream trio.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Can we be real here?
Hell yeah.
I have to say, when I was invited with, like, they even said, it's going to be you, Draskell, and Grant. And I was like, oh, shit, this sounds lit. And it was distinctly lit. It was a hell of a good time. I think that was the first time I've ever worked with Andy.
Really?
I'm pretty sure because I kind of came in when he was going out.
Okay. Yeah, you're actually right. He really started slowing down around the time you started traveling a lot more. And you've even been doing more international events, and he tends to do more like California kind of domestic-based stuff. So,
yeah.
Wow. Well, what a treat for you, man. The Draskell comes out of hiding.
Yeah. He emerged, it's like the Halley's Comet kind of deal going on there. So, no, we had a ton of fun. I basically, they oh my God, dude, the new offices. You got to see the new office.
Did I fuck up? Should I have stayed at BTS this whole time?
You would be very jealous. It just keeps on going. Like my mind was blown, honestly.
Okay.
They have a actual legit studio now. Like, and I mean, they were still in the process of setting it up when I was there. Like, I was there when Dan was so happy putting up the trusses, like those giant metal things that you put the lights on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like stages and stuff like that. So they were just getting those all set up. They have one massive warehouse room, essentially. Like, it's fucking huge. I don't even know what the dimensions would be. Like 100 feet by probably more than 100 feet, like 120 feet by 150 feet or something.
I feel
it's even bigger.
I think LD or somebody might have tweeted the dimensions, as I feel like I saw a number, and I want to say 8,000 square feet, give or take.
It's huge.
And
it's absolutely massive.
That sounds dumb big to me. Like the house that we're in here, for reference, is barely 3,000, and that covers everything.
That sounds
like
accurate.
Third floor, middle floor, and basement, all combined to come up with that figure. So if you had all of that laid out and then doubled, that's a pretty big area. That's a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, I didn't even see, they didn't even finish the whole thing. There's going to be like an upstairs area for all the team rooms and stuff for when you have like your summits or whatever, and then there's like a patio up there too. It is something else. Yeah, it's big enough and it's so smooth the floor that you can ride scooters around everywhere.
Really?
Buddy, they're living the esports dream. It's happening
shit,
down there.
How do they afford that? Do they have investors now?
The house is gone, right?
I guess so, but still, I mean.
And then they moved from their other office, so they essentially combined what they already had into a single location.
And they wow. They have enough content to fill that space with, make that space worth it? Is that
dude, it's
the supposition?
Yeah.
Are they doing that much white label contracting with all these other companies?
I would say so, yeah. They were working on a couple things while I was there, some stuff in the works, trying to help come up with some creative names. I was pro bono naming some stuff for them.
Pro bono brainstorming?
Yeah. But it's very impressive. So I'm sure you need to look forward to heading down there. Rob has his own kingdom now.
Okay. Damn.
It's pretty sweet, man.
All right, I got to find an excuse to head to LA and
yeah, you really do.
Catch up with my boys. Go schmooze LD a little bit. So for those of you out there living not in America, 8,000 square feet is 740 square meters. So it's a pretty substantial area. Again, I don't remember if that's the number. That's just what a number I remember seeing somewhere, and it could be. I could be confused.
Let me just tell you, it's fucking huge.
It's fucking huge.
It's fucking huge.
All we need to know.
Jesus. How are they going to do the summit? That's a great question. They're essentially building a house set. It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to look really good. You guys will be able to see it actually in about a week, I think.
Have you? Have you ever watched Silicon Valley, that HBO show?
No, but I know of it.
There's a scene where that really rich guy, Gavin Belson, has a garage or like a house or whatever, and then inside of that, he reconstructed the garage that he originally had, like that he lived in 20 years ago or 30 years ago to found the company, so he can like get in the mental space to brainstorm. And that's what I would imagine this is, where it's like you've got this living room built in within it's like a house within a house, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
They'll because they want to like recreate the backyard and everything too, right? Like from the actual Summit House, so it should be good.
Wow.
They have the Ultimate Summit coming up soon, so that was pretty exciting for me because I'm pretty into
Mortal
Ultimate.
Kombat.
No, they have a Smash Ultimate one as well.
Oh, Smash. Oh yeah, you said Ultimate.
Yeah.
Duh.
Then the Summit of Time is later.
Okay.
For Mortal Kombat, but I'm pretty into Ultimate right now, playing a ton, and obviously some of the people there play too. So I was just grinding out some Smash, learning some matchups, talking about the tournament coming up. It was exciting. Unfortunately, it's going to be during the Kiev, the Star Ladder Minor. So you'll have to split your time between watching it, guys.
Okay. Well, that's tricky. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Wow. Well, that's really cool. It's funny because just yesterday I was writing the chapter about when we first did that show in the studio, and in the studio was how we debuted that original studio that we built at the first BTS house. So I was going back and like just looking at footage to try to kind of get in the zone and just remember it and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty funny how far things have come. I mean, that wasn't that long ago.
Is that when you guys got those big white background things with like the Summit logos on them?
So this was before that. The original studio was
was the desk.
Yeah, that big hunky desk that had two styrofoam BTS logos on either side, and a TV in the middle. Then the backdrop was that giant printout of all the heroes tiled, but it had like all the old portraits, like the really weird looking Storm Spirit and all those other funky heroes. But we didn't have a high enough ceiling where we did it to position the lights well. So there's pretty nasty shadows, and it's just kind of like too dark, or the contrast is there's something wrong with the shot. And all of us with dark hair just sort of look like floating heads because our hair doesn't stand out from the background. It's all just darkness, So we look like these well-dressed floating faces in this new studio that are super excited but hard to see in this dingy lit kind of dungeon. It's just amazing how far things have come like 5 years from now. People say you can't bootstrap shit. Fuck you. That was like the ultimate bootstrap operation of, guys, we don't know what we're doing, but I know this is the right gear to order. I know we can figure out how to put it together. I know we can figure out how to make this show work. Let's just fucking do it. And there's some magic to that kind of attitude when you all just commit to diving in head first, not really knowing how deep the pool is.
Yeah, I remember those shows. Good times. I remember subbing to that show too to ask a question about something.
Really?
I forget what it was. Yeah. I was just a noob, a nobody.
Go back and look at the videotape. It looks like, we've got a question here from Trent Pax. Wow, really great question
Mott
out
Pax.
there.
Thank you.
From Mott
At
Pax.
those times, yes. Oh man.
Wow. That's crazy. It is nuts. Like, Rob really does have a whole army of people now. It's crazy that he started as just almost like intern status, like, hey guys, I'll do whatever. I'm here to help with the summit, to full on responsibility, man. It's awesome. It's cool to have been in esports long enough to see those stories happen.
I guess speaking of BTS, moving on from there, we're doing the Staff Cup tomorrow or Sunday.
The 3rd. Yeah, so 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
It is.
I'm looking. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. I've been practicing up,
I need
get my
to.
bishop rank back.
It's on my schedule for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be auto chess day, so maybe we should exchange some notes and be prepared. So it's you, me, Purge, and Eosin. That is our Moonduck quad. There aren't too many auto chess players in the Moonduck crew, as it turns out. It's pretty much just the three of us and Cinderin, but Cinderin's quite busy, and we committed to Eosin before we knew that he was available, so that's unfortunate, but
thank God Charlie's not in the Staff Cup, man. Charlie plays a lot. Charlie's
really?
like, I was actually there. It was me and Cap were playing one night, and Charlie was watching the stream, and so he came on and he was like, yo, what is this game? I'm getting kind of bored of Path of Exile. So we taught him how to play auto chess, and now he's just nonstop playing auto chess for like a month and a half now. So, it felt good, hooking someone on the drugs. I kind of get it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
control his whole life.
It's one of those games that really tickles that bit of gambler's itch that all of us as gamers really enjoy. Every time you re-roll those heroes, you get that little
bit of dopamine,
that little fix, that little bit. Yes, I got the Medusa. That feeling of finally a Tide Hunter, and It's good. It's
I got a level 3 Lena this morning, and it was not satisfying.
Really?
I went for it, but it wasn't as good as I'd hoped.
Really? Even with the buffs, you're still not rating her that high.
It's just not that great. It just kind of happened though. It's not like I wanted a level 3 Lena, but the Lenas just kept on coming up, and I was like, all right, I guess we're in there. I was running the mage strat anyway, but
yeah, I know how it goes.
You gotta get all your strats ready, just in case whatever happens. You know, I got to be ready to roll with it. So I've been practicing all the layouts I haven't really tried.
Yeah. Overall, switching gears again to the tournament we just did with the Beat guys. We did a little quick 1 day, $2,500, 16-person cup. It was roughly 8 Dota player personalities and then 8 other kind of card game, streamer, artifacts, you know, various types like that, Hearthstone. And I think it was, overall, I would label it a success. For the first one, anytime we do a first-time event in a new game, I always have low expectations because there are just things you don't know yet. And that was a perfect example of, hey, I'm going to rely on in-game spectating to cut scenes. Oh, wait, we're 2 minutes in the past. Okay, we're going to have to adapt to this on the fly. By the 4th game, we kind of made it work, and we were able to capture most of the elimination moments since we couldn't see them live. But at the same time, a lot of people also told me it was super confusing jumping back and forth between like current round and past round, where you have overlays in the like current time, and whenever you're looking at the client, there's no real overlays. You don't know who's winning. You don't know what round it is. So definitely not perfect, but that is also territory of jumping into like a new custom game that isn't really necessarily tournament ready. It's still getting its footing just as a game in general, let alone something that we can use for like a true competitive environment. So given all of those parameters, I think we did pretty well with it. And I think there's certainly improvements for next time. We're definitely planning on doing it again. I don't know exactly when. I think we want to give it a little time, you know, to develop, maybe have some more improvements to the spectator features.
Check out that screenshot in the chat there from our boy. From Tostress. There's like a...
we got here.
That's the Chinese stream that they did. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
They've got like a little hero level thing going. Wow.
Damn, how did they do that?
I guess they probably use like a layer style thing, right?
Damn. Now that is... So the Chinese are super into auto chess. Is that my takeaway from this?
Yeah, 100%. They're major into it. Did you see that they teased actually that they're coming out with a mobile version soon?
Really?
Yeah, actual Drodo Studio teased a little image of their little Drodo holding a phone, and it kind of has like that Valve art too. And obviously they're still using the art, the Dota Drodo. So my assumption is that Valve are going to be working with them, and then like it makes so much sense to just use all the Dota cosmetics and sell them on the heroes and the couriers in a mobile version, right?
Dude, if you could play this on a phone and it was standalone and just based on Dota stuff, but it had its own little economy and stuff, I mean, I hate to say this so bluntly, but I feel like Valve would almost be silly not to buy this and snatch this up and make auto chess an absolutely real thing. Like, this is one of those games where it's like, it reminds me so much of Dota 1, like, 8 years ago when Heroes of Newerth and League of Legends were like, dude, this game, look at this community, and this game kind of sucks. The engine's slow, and, you know, it's not really well updated, and there's all these parameters, and you can't reconnect, and there's all this shit. What if we just fixed all those problems? We'd really be onto something. Isn't that exactly what auto chess is right now?
Yeah, and there's like a bunch of there's already clones on like the App Store. Like if you look for auto chess right now, you can get a game.
Really?
Yeah, okay. There's like 4 or 5 of them right now. They literally just copy exactly what auto chess has, so it's a good idea.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that is usually a sign you're onto something when people are that eager to imitate and put it elsewhere. But with the backing of Valve and the marketing reach and like the kind of polish of that AAA, I mean, dude, we could really be onto something here.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I know. I have a lot of fun playing it. It's thoroughly enjoyable. It's something I can do. I don't care if I have to leave for my baby. Yeah, I've lost some ranks, but whatever.
Yeah, I need to sink some more hours into it, but it's been fun so far. Looking at this overlay, I need to have a meeting with JJ. I need to sit down and be like, dog, what can Layerth do for auto chess? Let's make this shit happen.
Damn, all their little faces too. They were really onto something there.
Yeah, that's really cool. So we'll see. So this morning when I was prepping for this podcast, that prompted me to go back, and I feel like kind of an idiot for not seeing any of this, but I didn't even realize the scope of that tournament that Balmy did like 2 weeks ago or whatever. I saw people in chat saying during our tournament, like, hope you guys can do better than Balmy, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I was like, oh, people are just talking shit I know he's a YouTuber, right? I'm aware of who he is, but I was not aware of this tournament that they supposedly tried to do with like 2,000 players and this massive spreadsheet, and it was like some disaster, and that the one player got replaced, and my God, that was a fun drama to go back and read up on.
Oh, did you like go through all the threads?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I went down a 30-minute like wormhole this morning just trying to figure out what the hell happened. I found his one response comment. It's like negative 2,000 right now. I mean, and it got gilded by somebody so it wouldn't get lost. I mean, that kind of stuff does not happen very often with dramas where something's that negative, but people are like, this needs to be seen. I will gild. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So that I can't believe they tried to do a tournament with that many people in a game that is in this state where you like can't even really host lobbies. You know, hosting lobbies is, hey guys, here's the password, join in this order. The person that's organizing it, like the admin, can't even be in the lobby because there's no extra slot for people that aren't actually playing. So that's a huge bottleneck in terms of the logistics of running a tournament.
You have to have a player host it, and it definitely gets complicated.
You know, doing it with 16 people was hard enough in just 4 rounds. We definitely bumped into some issues, and we were able to solve it pretty quickly, partially because it was 16 streamers that have all played a lot and were aware of the issues and were very helpful in accommodating all the things you have to do. But I couldn't imagine doing an open bracket with people that aren't as experienced with that. That just sounds like, whew. That's a tall order, dog.
I liked how the first one was unprofessional auto chess tournament hosted by BTS, and you can just feel for BTS. They're like, "Oh, come on, dude! All we did was like agree to stream this shit, probably for free, of course." And they were just like playing it, and they get dragged through the mud. Yeah, that's a fucking classic right there.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I saw the title. I was like, BTS at an auto chess tournament? I was like, oh, I see. They're one in the same. Got it. That sucks. Yeah, I hear you on that. Pretty redonkulous. I know you definitely Google it right now. If you go to the Dota subreddit and go to top posts and sort by the last month, you will see most of the relevant threads regarding what's. It was so bad that somebody made a new thread posting to comments that people were making because they were downvoted so far, and people wanted to discuss the comments that much. You know, it's like
Bommy's answer is full of lies and manipulations, and this is unacceptable. I believe is the one you're referring here as I'm looking at it.
I love it. It's the classic where they try to make him both a complete idiot and a manipulative mastermind at the same time. You know, like, Bommy's so incompetent, he can't even run a tournament, he can't do simple things, and it's like he's manipulating all of us with this cunning response of lies and deceit. Like, oh, this is my kind of story, man. This is the kind of plot thickness I look for in a good novel.
Wow, that is indeed quite quality. Did you catch the Torts drama? I saw someone else mention it as well. That was one of the dumbest dramas I've actually ever seen on Reddit.
Yeah, the first thread, I got a little bit. The first thread, I was just like, yeah, why would he do that and just promote his Twitter like that? And then you read all the responses and all the like weird sort of handicaps that come along with being able to edit guides and unpublish them and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's just if I want to remove these, this is kind of the only way to do it. And yeah, there's just not a great process.
It's just like, why would he do that though? It's just like,
it's so stupid.
You know? I never attribute to malice, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I do think if I were in his shoes, I probably would have just left him. You know, I think I would have just kind of let him go because eventually they just aren't updated anymore and they become outdated and people don't use them. And
but people would keep using them. That's the problem.
Well, some people would, but I mean, is that
then you're just putting a ticking time bomb instead of just cutting the cord there. See, I agree. I would just cut the cord right there because as long as they're up, he's gonna get messages every day about them.
Yeah, I guess that is sort of true. Yeah.
Might as well just cut it all at once.
Yeah, there is a point where it does sort of. I guess it depends on what your goals are. You know, I think that's maybe like, you know, what does he want to do next? How does he want to leverage it? Sort of like he was talking about how the one that he turned live was because of a potential sponsor request as sort of like a proof of concept to see, you know, what the branding options were. And
I'm
that
actually
kind of
surprised that doesn't exist because I remember when I first started playing, there was a website called Dota Fire, I think it was called. I haven't heard about that website actually in a billion years.
I think it was an offshoot of MOBA Fire, correct?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like they have Vainglory Fire, Artifact Fire.
MOBA Fire is
I've never heard of this before. Or I haven't heard of this like since I left it.
I think Curse bought it. Oh, no, they're their own network. They're not part of the Curse network.
Oh, hype! They're doing an auto chess tournament. You can win $25 in Steam gift cards, guys. Well, you're welcome, Dota Fire. Free plug.
So what about Dota Fire? Just
Oh no, I just remember using that all the time when I first started playing Dota, and I haven't heard of it since. But I remember when I first started playing, there were a bunch of guides that were all labeled with Dota Fire at the end, and that's how I knew about the site.
Yeah, it does make me wonder a little. On the same vein that you're talking about, like there's all of these websites and startups for guides. Like the Dota Haven and the Dota Alchemy and all. Like even Dota Buff, all that kind of stuff. You'd think that if there'd still be some way to monetize what you've done there in another platform, even if you leave it free in the client. You can still put that content, like you've already done the hard work with the content. You've researched it, you've written it, you know what it is. It just needs to be bundled into a video or a guide written somewhere on another website you put ads on. You could totally sell that to somebody. I mean, people are already making money off of that. Like you said,
I'm not buying it.
I mean, I'm not buying it either, but I don't think we're the 1%, man.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, there we go.
Well, when it comes to that kind of, why would a Dota analyst of your sort ever buy something like
that? Speaking of Dota and matches on today, have you heard about the best of 7 that's occurring today?
I did. Yeah, I saw the thread that somebody posted reminding us of the last best of 7, the epic 3-0 2-hour break and then 4-0 sweep back the other way. I remember. God, when did that happen? I want to say, did LD cast it?
2014, I think. It was DK and who was it? IG?
I think so. That sounds
DK
right.
and somebody.
That sounds right. I remember, though, that I forget the exact details surrounding it, but I remember the players saying that the 2-hour break played a significant role in tipping the scales. Like they felt like
in the Reddit thread about it today, the first comment is "good times" from LD. So
there you go. Look at that. Memories on
it was IG. Yeah, I can definitely understand the break coming into play, though. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I remember LD talked to one of the players. Was Ice on DK?
Yeah.
Or he was saying that the 2-hour break just gave them so much time to like untilt and just reset that it really felt like they were just playing another series. Just like, yeah, we lost the first series. That's cool. We're going to come back strong here and reset. And he said if they had just gone into another game, they were all so just out of the zone and kind of maybe tilted is too strong, but losing 3 games in a row puts you in a certain state of mind. He said he was not confident they would have won game 4 without that time.
Wow, that was on January 1st, 2014. There you go.
So that was 2 weeks before I drove to the BTS house for the first time.
There you go.
So there you go. I made with 3 weeks maybe. I arrived on like the 20th or 21st or something. Wow.
Man, I remember that. I watched the first game because I was a big DK fan back then. They were like kind of the team that I loved watching because I was new to Dota and thought they were so awesome. Ice was the best player ever. And then I watched the first game and I went to bed. And then I woke up at some point in the middle of the night after like the break and stuff. Or it was just early the next morning, and I tuned into Game 7, and I'm just like, what the hell? How did they do it?
Yeah. I don't know. What's your take on the best of 7 format? Do you think it's cool, or is it? It's
unfortunately useless. Because what if you just get a 4? Like, how do you can never use it in a LAN environment? That's the disappointing part of it. I know they did in this instance, and I think if there was ever a place you could do it, it was China, because in those days, I don't know if this is necessarily the case now, but I remember back then in 2014, 2015, 2016 era, China had so many LANs. Like, I remember they would do all the qualifiers on LAN, even for like TI, right? Yeah. They were the only region where they would bring all the teams somewhere and they would just play. And so I think when you have that, like they had like a long-standing venue, so they're not worried about like a one-day venue cost in that scenario.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were to have a LAN, like we're gonna run a LAN, we're gonna try and do a best of 7. All right, we need this place for either 4 hours or 11. Like.
Yeah, I agree with you. Logistically, it's a complete nightmare. And I think you can really only do it as kind of an all-in, like we're banking on the novelty of this event, making up for that crazy variance in broadcast time and even broadcast talent. Like 4 hours is, well, how many talent do we really need for that? 11 hours is, you almost need a second shift. You need some rotations. That's a long time to just be broadcasting the same teams doing kind of the same thing. So I'm looking forward to it, I guess. I don't think it really does. I'd be curious to have a stats guy call in for 5 minutes and give us the numbers of variance between best of 5 and best of 7 in Dota. Like how
there's
often,
only ever been 2.
I mean, I think you could map out the permeations in theory. Like if you put numbers to how all the teams should match up, like with MMR, and then they play in a best of 5 with variance and then a best of 7 with variance. How many more times does the team win a best of 7 but not win a best of 5 when they're the better team on paper? You know what I mean? Like usually I think the better team is going to win a best of 5. Like I would guess like 98% of the time or something. It's got to be super rare where the underdog would lose a best of 5 but then somehow come back and win a best of 7. Generally, the more games you play, the lower the chances the underdog actually wins, right? That's the whole point of doing it. So
yeah.
That's where I think there's probably some math you could do to prove that a best of 7 is stupidly redundant. It's just diminishing returns from a best of 5.
Well, it's taking place in about 24 hours. So about half an hour ago, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, you guys will be able to tune into that. And that's going to be currently, actually, there's a best of 5 happening right now on BTS between NIP and Singularity. And NIP looked like they were about to close it out because they had a nice early lead with a Broodmother game in Game 4, but then they... I believe the odds were actually 8-1 in favor if you bet on Singularity, and Singularity won that game. So if anyone hit up 1x bet, well done.
Damn.
Congratulations on your Skrilla. It was only a 2K lead, by the way. It was a really good bet. I hope someone did it because it looked really tempting. So they're going to Game 5 in like 5 or 10 minutes from now. And the winner of that will play against the winner of Namiga and Team Empire in that best of 7. So
exciting.
Should be good.
BO7. What a time.
Of course, we'll be busy playing. Oh, wait, no, that's not tomorrow. All right, we won't be busy playing auto chess. That's in 2 days. Got it.
Yeah, you keep thinking auto chess is on
I
Saturday.
know.
It's a Sunday.
I swear, I know it's Sunday, I promise.
Did you? Speaking of other threads, I like this headline from Gosu AI that basically 1 out of every 7 pub games is fucked from a feeder or lever or some other extenuating circumstance of somebody deleting items or otherwise just, not trying to execute the game anymore. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't actually.
That they crunched the data over, oh God, I'm forgetting how many places now. I want to say it was 5 billion games. Million isn't that big. I think it was over 5 billion games, and they determined that something like 1 out of every 7 you should expect to have an unpleasant experience. So I should
just lower my expectations.
Yeah, as like a pub mentality.
Yeah.
1 out of every 7, you need to just be able to stand up and go, you know what? That's my one. That's my one where I've got that techies on my team who's just not doing anything and just flaming everybody and demoralizing the whole crew. Like you're going to bump into slacks 1 out of 7 games. And that's just the reality of hitting the Q button when you want to play competitive Dota. But that's also a reality check for the people that say, oh my God, I can't get to 4K because just it feels like every game somebody just feeds and ruins it. It's like, nah.
That is true.
It's 1 out of 7. If you get 7 games in a row where somebody on your team is feeding, you are either the unluckiest person in the world or you're probably doing something to drive your team to their feet.
It does happen. I can recall the day I quit solo ranked, it was 4 games in a row ruined, and I swore it off.
Yep.
I think that was like 3 years ago, and I was like, all right, this is a waste of my fucking time.
It's true. I think 5 is probably the worst consecutive streak I've had with that kind of thing where you look at the stats and it's like, okay, I'm 5-5 and 12, and the rest of my team is 1 and 10, 3 and 14, that kind of shit.
I'm talking like literally just left. Like the game was just done. They just quit.
You mean though? Yeah, that too.
Like
okay.
Literally, there was no chance to win. It was just someone leaves and everyone else abandons. And you're like, all right, well, this is a great use of my day.
I've never had 4 of those in a row. I've had those mixed in with other, intentional feeders or item deleters, but I count the team demoralizers in that category as well. The people that sort of try for the first 15 to 20 minutes and then inevitably get really frustrated and just yell at everybody and then just kind of dance around and kind of half farm the jungle. I mean, yeah, they're not feeding in the lane, but they're actively not really trying to do anything and making everyone else just frustrated and want to give up also. I think there's a Venn diagram there where those sort of count. If your carry is not farming between minutes 15 and 25 because he's mad, you got fucking serious problems on your team.
Have you ever looked at your record, by the way, for your longest streak? I saw someone in chat actually ask, and now I'm curious because I think it's on Dota Buff. Actually.
I would guess that mine is. I see somebody saying 14. I think mine's around that threshold. I can remember a time when I lost 11 in a row.
Mine is apparently 9. I lost 9 games in a row, with the final game being a clockwork.
Okay.
It would seem.
Dude.
Nice. I have won 11 in a row, though, so at least my winning streak is longer than my losing streak.
Okay, dude, type me in. Now I'm curious. I know my win streak. I think it's probably high single digits, 9 or 8 or 9, and I bet my lose streak is like 11 or 12. I think I'm inverted from you.
I wonder if you can. Oh yeah, I can look at your records. All right, cool. Let's find out. I guess you guys could just look this up. Your longest is 11, and your longest winning is 15.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of your win streak, you were playing a lot of Bounty Hunter back then. You were playing just Bounty Hunter and Spirit Breaker in 2015. This is pretty hilarious.
Oh, I remember that.
Dude,
yeah.
you were playing with Maconis. You were probably in Sweden.
I was in Sweden. I remember that. We were playing with one of my friends, too. Yeah, I played a shitload of Bounty Hunter. Yeah, that's a little bit cheesy. That's definitely a little cheesy. I would wonder what my real win streak is. Bounty Hunter was busted as fuck then.
Apparently, you were building Greaves, Orchid, bots. You had 2 boots. You were slaying it.
Dude, I was on another level. Those were good times, man. That was right after I quit BTS. That was my like getaway vacation. Yeah. I just fucked off to Europe for a month and played a shitload of Dota. Oh.
You appear to have outdamaged your Legion commander, who had Daedalus, Shadowblade, and Desolator, and a Hypersome. My God, what a useless Legion commander. No wonder they're fucking anonymous in this match. God damn. Worthless.
Oh God. But yeah, I that stat I just thought was pretty cool. So jumping around here, like hopping topics, but I like it. Can we talk about that Valentine's Day thing a little bit? You remember that tournament?
Can we ever?
So let's start at the very beginning though.
First off,
the what?
The opening. Like, did you see how they opened the days?
No. I was going to start with the ad that they had with the Queen of Pain thing. Did we talk about that on a podcast?
Oh my God. No, you can start with that, and I'll get the singer for you.
Okay. So that was the original, right? It was like the Queen of Pain Razor ad with like the moaning and the like. It's like some BDSM kind of shit. So a lot of people
was pretty wild.
Thought that was a little bit over the line, and then they come out of the gate with this like love-based tournament. I saw mostly just the content pieces. Like I saw the Purge dating advice thing. I saw that they were wearing the clothes. Like I enjoyed the theme, but I feel like I missed this key thing that you're about to link me, and now I'm very curious.
Yeah, let me. I'm working on it here.
All right,
I'm getting there.
So it's been a controversial tournament, pretty much since they announced it. I guess you could say, and it's been this weird ebb and flow of kind of people thinking they're over the line, and then they made some really dank content. People are like, okay, this is cool. This is on our subreddit. We're going to promote this.
All right, so pop that link open and just skip to about 3 minutes or so. They had a musical intro during the days. And it consisted of a woman sitting on this big fluffy bed and some keyboards going and a saxophone. And it was weird.
Oh, yeah, I got it in the background a little bit here.
And do you want to know? Look how long it goes on.
And they just play for like 15 minutes.
No, Andrew.
No, they're still going. They play for like 45 minutes. Does she sing too?
Yes, she sings.
What is happening?
No.
I don't know. It was so strange. I woke up in bed and I was like, oh yeah, that Valentine's Day tournament's starting. So I roll over, I get my phone, my wife's still asleep, and I open up the Twitch page, and that woman's just there, and I'm just like, what am I watching? It was really odd.
All right, so let's take a second here at higher volume. Wow. Okay. I don't even know what to say about that, dude. Like,
I don't know.
So I've had ideas like that before for our tournaments. Where like, what if instead of just playing music, we had somebody playing an instrument or some other sort of live fill during those segments? And I've never been able to piece it together in my head where it kind of makes sense. And I feel like this is just cranking that up to like 15, where you're like, guys, let's get a band. We're going to put them in this weird set, and they're going to play for 40 minutes. It's going to be a full concert, but it's going to be a band that no one's ever heard of, and we're going to do it totally cold with no context and just let them play. And when they start wondering how long is this going to go on, we're going to hit them with another 20 minutes. Like, what in the fucking world is that?
And then it wasn't just one day. It was every day. That's the weirdest part of it to me.
But they did end up making some dank content.
Yeah, some of it was pretty good.
I didn't watch that much of the actual tournament. And that's where I wonder, like, where does this land in the pages of history? Is this considered a success, or was this considered sort of a mockery type tournament that we'll look back and go, that was like the one on the boat that we never got the replays for?
They got the like the outfits too, like the casters had to wear the little angel costumes, and everyone else was in onesies and stuff. I do remember. It might have been that same day. Did you see where Breaky, they didn't have enough mics? There weren't enough mics for the panelists. So at one point, Breaky's just standing in the background. I think it's on the first day. Breaky's just standing in the background holding like a club in a onesie, and he stands there for like the entire segment. And then they come back, and he's still there standing with it. So there was some weird stuff when there weren't enough materials to go around. But overall, I would say successful event. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's trail forward. Now that's not where the drama ends, right? So
no.
And this one is a little more complicated because it involves Russian streams and Russian broadcasting.
I've got a pretty good handle on this one. If you want me to take,
dude, take it away.
So now, a little disclaimer here, guys. All of this has been, it's a lot of broken English, obviously being received by our community, as we're trying to like start to hear this whole story between WePlay and RuHub. So I'll give you guys what I've learned, and I'll lean on this summarization from the main poster of this drama, as well as the apology thing he posted this morning, which was MSTRMN, who I always thought was Master Ramen, maybe that C guy, but this guy's clearly C or CIS. So guess it wasn't him all along. But anyway.
I always thought that was Master Ramen too. Now I feel like a complete idiot.
Yeah, there you go. So basically what happened was there was a CSGO tournament, and RuHub had the Russian rights. It was for the Katowice Major. So apparently there's been this gentleman's agreement all the time between the Russian studios of we're not going to stream each other's shit from Dota TV or from what's it called, Go TV or whatever.
Yeah.
And for the first time, according to them, this was broken because the WePlay guy, YXO, streamed this CSGO event on his channel to about 500 viewers, I believe was the claim, is what WePlay said. So RuHub were very upset by this, and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? This is really stupid. And then when there was a WePlay tournament going on, one of the RuHub casters then started streaming it, and they had the RuHub social media accounts promote it. Now, that's the difference, because WePlay never promoted the CSGO thing. It was just like this guy on his own channel sort of a deal, so it's a little bit weird. But in the end, WePlay then DMCA'd Casper for streaming the WePlay tournament, which of course we all know is a big no-no because Valve is the only one who can send DMCAs and, fuck off, basically, as we all remember from the Valve blog post.
Right. If you're not using any of the resources of the person's tournament that it is, i.e. in-game camera work, audio from casters, if you're just watching on Dota TV, doing everything else yourself on your own stream, only Valve can tell you no. They're the only ones that can DMCA that. So, objectively, WePlay has overstepped their legal bounds here.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums it up in terms of where the original drama came from. And then we had the CEO from Forward Gaming announced that Forward Gaming will not participate in any WePlay tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
Until they apologize. And as of today, WePlay, after a rather disastrous PR campaign from the person in charge of the social media account, who then said, I don't want to get involved with this, but then proceeded to get involved with it. They have now apologized, and they have withdrawn their DMCA.
Oh, good. That if you're referring to the person who got tagged in the Reddit thread, it was just like, yeah, I'm in charge of the official WePlay account. I'm here on my personal account, and I don't really want to get involved with this to make it worse. There's going to be a statement coming. And then after that, proceeded to reply multiple times after that and just digging the grave deeper of just like, dude,
it's hard, though. I understand. I get it. You want to defend yourself, but just stop,
I mean, I understand the temptation. I have been there. I've worked with groups where other people have been there, and you're just like, they're completely wrong, and but you got to have tact. You got to wait.
Dude,
more is not better. Quality over quantity. You got to think ahead.
I have the WePlay or the BTS stream up right now on my side monitor because I'm just keeping an eye on this best of 5, and I just noticed the chat said +3 if you miss Zyori, and someone hit 3.
Wow, that one
Isn't
guy.
that nice?
The one guy
one guy says 3.
The one guy who's watching BTS
4,
instead of the Trent and Zyori podcast, sitting in the BTS channel going, man, I miss Zyori, but doesn't actually care enough to follow me and know when we're making content to get a little dose of Zyori. That's a true fan right there. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I left behind at BTS, gosh darn it.
Yeah, there you go. It's okay. Oh, we got a couple more 3s. We're good.
Okay.
I'm helping you out, dude. Don't worry. But yeah, back to our wonderful drama. So I don't know. I guess they got their own little ESL thing, right? They're living the life. That now the Russian community knows.
It is tricky. I mean, it really is a can of worms that has been opened with, Valve kind of giving that freedom. And we've talked about it even on this podcast before, where those lines are, even just from sort of a community perspective. Streamers like Bulldog or Sing Sing really hold more power than ever now because they could kind of cripple some of these tournaments if they wanted to in terms of how many viewers they can draw themselves versus, the kind of viewership those tournaments would have gotten on their own if they weren't a part of it. So it is an interesting conundrum. I don't know exactly what the solution is. I don't think this is the final state of affairs. I think more sort of agreements will come about, and people are pretty respectful about it in general, I think, in the Dota space. But it's a problem, and it is that there's a lot of power lurking there that I think has been relatively unchecked. Because
I like how
DMCA is the tool.
They, in their apology, they use things like, we apply the DMCA due to the fact of the unfair competition and the usage of DMCA tool as a tool of influence is perceived negatively by the community. It's like, well, yeah, and it's illegal. You're breaking the law.
that too.
It's perceived negatively. We'll
really
chalk it up to
strange.
mistranslation,
Yeah. I wish I had a better understanding of how DMCA works internationally because WePlay is not an American company.
No.
And DMCA, that's American law we're talking about. And the reason it's relevant to Twitch, obviously, is because Twitch is an American company. So those are the rules that we're playing by. But it gets hinky when you start mixing in other jurisdictions. And I don't know well enough to really speak on it with coherence. But I think that just adds another layer of maybe they don't understand exactly how DMCA is supposed to work. Even though it seems obvious to us since ESL went through it, that doesn't mean every organizer was paying close attention to every other organizer's drama. No,
it's understandable, especially when it's in our English sphere.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So there to play devil's advocate a little bit, there is a side where there could have been some genuine misunderstanding, which is a little hard to imagine in our current day and age. But I also, I only speak English, so it's just a different perspective. It's hard to empathize with exactly what it's like on the other side of the world. So I guess it's been pretty cleared up now, huh? Is this one of those dramas where
I think it's just kind of over now?
It's just done. Right. They've apologized. Yeah. They rescinded the DMCA, and now we can all move on. Be like, well, WePlayer put them in the category of DMCA abusers. All right, we got another one, gang. I'm sure the Reddit detectives were happy to have another one solved.
It's scary when the hunt for drama is high,
Yeah. Exactly.
You don't want to step on anyone's toes. It's very dangerous.
Exactly, dude. So the last topic I wanted to jump to before we take a good question we had from before the podcast started. Smash Melee removed from EVO 2019. Mr. Ultimate, how you feeling about this, Trent? Are you happy, sad, or neutral?
Sad for sure.
Okay.
So here's the deal. The guy who runs who runs EVO has always hated Melee. That's pretty much a well-established and known fact, and maybe he wouldn't say that publicly, but it's pretty well known. The guy's pretty much a tool. So basically, he hates Melee. But let me say, there are some issues with Melee. What does Melee use? Melee uses fucking CRTs. Mm-hmm. That's pretty annoying. I'll give him that. It requires a whole different setup. It's very complicated. But in the past, the community has largely brought all the CRTs and everything, and they kind of bring all the setups to make sure Melee can happen. So it's not an issue it's not really a logistical issue, honestly. I mean, some people say that because it's harder, but it's not. Frankly, Melee's money. Number one thing, one of the arguments was Melee people don't sign or don't play other games, so a lot of those entrants have no crossover. And then somehow people thought that was a bad thing for the organizer. But I don't know if you guys know, but they pay fucking money to come to the tournament. So that means that you're getting 1,200 entrants for Melee that are fresh entrants.
Yeah.
These people aren't going from game to game, dude. This is more just fresh money. Anyway, so Melee, has broken records at Genesis. That was the largest viewed Melee tournament ever.
I heard that.
Part of that is because it was with Ultimate. So because they're bundled like that, you're going to get a lot of crossover between the two communities. So, of course, that is going to boost the numbers for Melee. But Melee on its own has, of course, stood the test of time and is a glorious game to watch. So I'm definitely upset with it. But it's fine. It's whatever. There's tons of Melee majors over the next year. So it's really their loss. And, fuck Evo, basically.
Do you think Melee is going to phase out, though? I mean, long term.
No, fuck no, dude. No. There's no way.
Ultimate's not that good?
No. Melee, okay, here's the thing. When you play Ultimate, this is the best explanation I've ever seen, and I saw this listed on some Reddit comment somewhere, so I'm sorry I can't source it, but Ultimate, you play the character. Melee, you play the game. That is by far the best way to describe Melee. Melee, like, when you want to move your character to, like, the perfect part of that exact part of a Melee stage and execute this exact moment, you can just do that in Melee. But in Ultimate, like, it feels like everything's just like slowing you down. And that's like in every fighting game, really. But Melee just had this pure movement that is just, oh my God, dude. Nothing will touch it. Like, the best thing Nintendo can do, honestly, is to truly port Melee to the Switch. And then that's going to solve everything, right? That's the dream. Get rid of the,
I don't think they'll ever do
lag.
that, dude.
Dude, they definitely will. Are you serious? Nintendo have ported Link's Awakening to the fucking Switch.
Well,
and they're going to sell it for $80. They're going to port Melee.
When you say port, you want the exact same game with all of the exact same things. That's what I mean. But they're not. They are going to put a version of Smash Melee on the Switch. It is not going to be a direct port that you're going to like. That's my guess.
No. They will keep everything. I guarantee. Nintendo's not that stupid. They're really stupid sometimes. But I have faith that they would just add an online mode and put Melee on the Switch.
Hasn't Nintendo probably been the biggest roadblock to Melee growing as a game? Like, weren't they the ones that originally said, this will not be an esport, this is a fun game. This is a game that people play to have fun. It's not competitive. Like, I mean, I'm with you. That would be the dream. I have no faith. I have no faith.
Here's the thing. People have been asking them to do it since the Wii. So by the typical logic of Nintendo, when did people first want a Nintendo standalone game on their home console? Probably the GameCube. Maybe the 64, some people would have wanted. But really the GameCube, everyone's like, yes, we'll get a true Pokemon game on the GameCube.
Yep.
And we never did. And then we didn't get it on the Wii. And then we didn't get it on the Wii U. And now, in the coming months, we will truly get it on the Switch. So by that logic, with people asking for a Melee port ever since Brawl was total dog shit on the Wii, we've now passed enough generations that we will get Melee onto the Switch.
So what about cannibalizing Ultimate, though? Isn't that the other big deterrent for why Nintendo Corp wouldn't want to do that?
I don't think so, because they're just different. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would sort of agree. Same. I just don't know if Nintendo sees it that way. I think often those companies look at their IPs in terms of verticals and go, this is what's on top of that vertical and everything else is secondary. And they need, because remember, they're a publicly traded company too. It's not just about like, what's going to make the best game. It's about what's going to be best for our brand and our stock price and ultimately make the company the most money. That's why they don't care about
but
esports.
Nintendo, compared to at least North American companies and everything, have done things in the past like cutting CEO payments. I mean, my God, can you imagine an NA company doing that ever? No.
It's a very different culture. That's a totally fair point. What do you think there will ever be a point where an emulator version of Melee could be so one-to-one that it renders Nintendo obsolete of the whole equation?
Yeah, there is some issues with the Melee with the emulator one. It's not quite the same, but that is a fair question. Or even like onto a Wii, for example, kind of a deal. So I don't know. I don't know if that would ever happen. Probably there would be some sort of an emulator switch over at some point because of the CRT issue that could actually happen. I mean, I think the last manufacturer actually stopped this year or is stopping soon or something. So there won't be any more CRTs made in the world.
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's sort of like records, right? Like records sort of stop. Maybe they never stop being made entirely, but it's swung back up as people want vintage things and they kind of come back into circulation. So that could totally happen with CRTs if Classic Smash holds true, but it seems hard to hold on to stuff that's that old. Like you could make an argument that the original Tetris on that first console is the most competitive classic version of Tetris. However, we've moved on to slightly bigger and better things. I get that that's a terrible analogy because Tetris is way less mechanically based than Melee, and that's a big part of that specific console and how responsive it is. But it's hard to cling to, like, 50 years from now, we're going to be like, man, where's that CRT and those AV cables? You know, everything's going to be fucking wireless at that point. You know, there's just a certain point where it's just not feasible at all.
I mean, I know that I'm definitely being optimistic. I won't put it as far as delusional. You may call me delusional. That's fine. I mean, that's a fair thing to say, honestly, with Nintendo's past. But I am optimistic that it will happen and Melee will come to the Switch.
Okay.
Eventually.
All right.
If not, I mean, if we go by the same logic as the Pokemon games, then we'll have to wait till the next console before we get Melee back, but hopefully not.
Yeah. But I definitely agree. A 1-to-1 port backed by Nintendo would truly be the 10 out of 10 solution. That would fix everything, and that would bring Melee to the forefront again. But
actually, while we're on the topic of Smash, I will say, if there's anyone out there who has not gotten into Smash or would like to get into Smash or has ever thought about getting into Smash, maybe you have a Switch. I'll talk mostly about Ultimate, but I obviously fully recommend Melee as well, even if that means you just have to play the emulated version, which is totally fine. Get the adapter, get a GameCube controller. But if you've ever thought, man, you know, I'd like to get better at Ultimate, or I'd like to play Ultimate, there was recently a very big tournament called Frostbite, and they had 3 streams running the whole time, and they streamed every single match of the tournament, which is pretty rare, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do, if you go to, I'll actually link it. So there's a lovely website called vods.co where they do a lot of the Smash VODs. So if you go there to vods.co/ultimate, you can watch all of the Ultimate VODs that have been categorized. It just links you to the YouTube page where they're all on. Super handy. And it lets you sort by characters, players, event, even casters if you want. And you can find it from all the best tournaments from Ultimate. So basically, you know, you guys trying to learn a character. You just choose the character you want to learn, watch all the sets, learn how to play your character. It's super convenient for learning how to play and for getting to that, like, you know, next level up sort of deal. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my big recommendation if you guys want to get into it.
I highly recommend the Smash documentary as well. That shit's super old now, but I didn't get Smash until I watched that. Mott basically forced me to sit down and watch it, and it really opened my eyes to, like, wow, I appreciate Melee so much more now that I understand where it got its roots and kind of how it became a competitive game. You know, totally mind blown. Highly recommend.
Yep.
All righty. Well, we
All
are.
Right, what was the chat question?
Yeah, we're winding down here. So this was at the very beginning, right after we started the stream. This was from Fun One Dota. He said, "I've got a serious question. Shocking, I know, for Twitch chat. But I am concerned about Moonduck, ? You guys don't seem to get much work as a studio. I love all you guys, and it's a shame not to see a qualifier hub or Moonduck run event. Can you talk about this, basically?" So
it's a good question.
I think it's a good question because it leads into a lot of other things. You know, there are a lot of factors that go into this kind of stuff, and some of it is within our control, and some of it kind of out of our control, I guess, in a lot of ways. I think the changes to DBC have by far marked the most significant changes to the ecosystem in general. And I think the way Moonduck was positioned, it's now harder than ever for us to do the things that we used to do, you know, 2 or 3 years ago when we could kind of semi-regularly run captain's draft tournaments or elimination mode tournaments or even Midas modes and do these kind of online tournaments. If you go back and look at elimination modes, the prize pools were pretty small for the caliber of teams playing. The first one was like 10K. I think the second one was 20K, and the third one was maybe 30 or 40K or something. Relatively small tournaments like that are almost impossible to execute now. Most tier 1 teams, you know, your Secrets, your OGs, your Liquids, I mean, tier 1 brands, you know, they don't want to play in tournaments of that scope, even if they like the idea or they don't have to play in that many games, because it's just not a good use of their time, generally speaking. It's a higher expected value to practice for a major where you can place and win part of $1 million than waste your time playing in an elimination mode tournament where even if you win, you only get $15,000 or something. And part of it is for their own brand. They don't want to get flooded by requests from other tournaments saying, well, why'd you play in that one for 40K, but you won't play in ours? It's easier to just take all that shit out of the equation, remove that headache, and just focus on majors and minors. So I think that is one of the biggest pieces of it where our bread and butter is now a lot harder. And we tried to morph that by saying, hey, let's do a minor on this new circuit. We did that this time last year and then some. And it wasn't a mistake, and I don't regret it, but it wasn't a slam dunk. Hey, guys, we made 100K off that event. Let's reinvest that into a future minor. It's like, guys, this was pretty expensive. I don't know if we can afford to do this again in the same way. We need to really think about how we're going to execute events on this scale in the future because we don't quite have the sales team to hit the budgets that we need to make this profitable. And then the circuit changed again, and now it's even harder. You know, majors are completely unreachable for somebody of our scale, and minors are maybe potentially within reach, but as we've talked about a number of times, I don't know where the profit's supposed to come from when you can't even invite tier 1 teams. You know, imagine Captain's Draft if Secret wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my God, no thanks.
So
imagine running an event, not knowing who the hell's going to be at your tournament, just rolling the dice.
Yeah, that's really scary. You know, saying, hey, we've got the dates. We don't know who's going to be there, but we know roughly the top 16 teams in the world aren't going to be there is just such a scary sales pitch.
That's so shitty.
Like, I don't know.
All right, here's your tournament. Now take the 16 best teams, get them out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's some difference. You basically just pray for the good Europe team to come. You're like, oh, God, I hope we get OG or Secret really fucks up.
Exactly. So it's really tough. And because now DPC is so significant, again, it goes back to that. How do players calculate the expected value of their time? All of it revolves around DPC, not just in the money for placing those tournaments, but it's the road to TI. And if you're a professional Dota player, your biggest motivator for playing is getting to TI because that's where, you know, the majority of the money in the scene is locked in those huge Super Bowl-esque events. So that means if all things equal, it used to be, hey, how do we perform just in general? That is part of what goes into this TI invite. Now if we say, hey, do you want to play in Midas mode for 100K? They know for a fact that has zero impact on TI or majors or anything else. So it limits the windows in which we can run these events because teams are always going to put DPC first, even if it's a minor.
And they all vacation way more.
They vacation
more
more.
These DPC things.
Mm-hmm. And
like, that's a whole new thing that was not an issue like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, have you watched all these tournaments? Like MDL had like 8 stand-ins or some shit across all the teams. You know what I mean? And same thing with ESL. They had stand-ins as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's new.
Yeah. So it's been a tricky environment to adapt to, and you're sort of stuck in this cycle of you want to commit to dates pretty far in advance so you can start talking to sponsors and teams and line things up ahead of time, but it's really hard to commit to dates in advance. I think every organizer in the space has had that experience where they've announced dates and then had to announce changes after that because something else comes up. There's another event that wasn't announced or teams are going to play qualifiers. It's definitely happened to BTS. It's happened to Moonduck more than once. And that's manageable when we're doing Midas mode out of my living room, right? We can say, hey, whenever the teams can play, we can book the flights, we can do the event here. But when you start trying to scale things up like, hey, we want to do Midas mode in a venue with a live studio audience, there's a song and dance that has to take place where you have to make some sort of a commitment to block off the venue dates, but you also can't just blindly commit to dates because you know without the right teams, there's kind of no point in doing the event. If you do a 100K tournament without any tier 1 teams, where are we getting that 100K back?
Ooh, there's an interesting one to talk about. Mumbai. Speaking of, because that's kind of what's happening, right? So ESL Mumbai is coming up. Let me list off the direct invites so far. They are Alliance, Gambit, Complexity, and Ninjas in Pajamas, and there's still 3 direct slots left. That is spooky. And now let me tell you the European qualifier right now, okay? They're finishing up. They're actually playing right now, it looks like, or something like that. There are 4 teams in the European qualifier, and it's just the Pango. The Pango is the only one in the European qualifier. Like the other 3 teams aren't even. They're just stacks.
Yeah.
So then you're just wondering, like, oh shit, like who's going to Mumbai? Bye, dude.
I do
Whoever these
actually
last
think Arcyes makes a point that some of this is just trying to figure out this new market. A lot of people think that the Indian market is going to have big potential for esports. It's kind of identified as the next budding area that's going to explode. So I think in this unique case, you can get away with it because you're just trying to get a foothold
but I mean,
there.
they're still doing the same prize pool, and this is a 300K tournament, and no tier 1 team so far has shown interest.
I'm with you. I'm not saying it's
Like,
the
that's
perfect
not a
play.
good
I'm just saying that it makes you can make an argument that there is value in collecting that data and being an early mover in a new region. But
I mean, I don't disagree, but I'm trying to equate it to like look at these guys. These are the better than the direct invites we're gonna get for 100K fucking elimination mode.
Oh,
you know
right.
what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
Like,
it's a case of how much money you need to get attention from anyone if you're non-DPC, and even if you have the money, it's still hard to get attention from the teams that you really care about.
yeah, it's
I
absolutely crazy, and it's during a minor, I think. Not even sure.
It might be. We're definitely starting to see some overlap. And I think the last thought that I had on that question is there's been a big change in the way talent works in the Dota space as well. I mean, BTS had an agency for a while. We act as an agency in a lot of ways, but I think now more than ever, most talent are pretty white label for the most part. And that idea of a tournament organizer like, an ESL or a DreamHack or PGL or whoever else, just hiring a studio saying like, hey, BTS, we want you. We want to co-brand. Bring all of your best talent. Or, hey, Moonduck, we want you. We want to co-brand. I think we did that for the minor last year that we did with PGL, kind of, where it was very Moonduck heavy.
The Moonduck major, right? Major.
Yeah. So that was one of the only times we did it, but it's not a great value proposition for the person putting on the tournament when they could just say, hey, I'm just going to take the people that I really want that are white label and the people that work for the individual studios or agencies or whatever else and just mix and match however I want, knowing that they're the ones that are signing the checks. And if they're paying enough money that, people aren't going to turn down an event to try to, it's not that well unionized. We're not really fighting like, all right, it's going to be partnered with Moonduck or partnered with BTS. What happens if PGL says, hey, I want these 3 people from Moonduck, I want these 4 people from BTS, and then I want Cap and Toby? Are we going to say, no, fuck that, you got to pick Moonduck or BTS or we're not doing it? No, we just say, well, okay, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, I'll get your rates for those 3, and then we all just do it and work in harmony, and it's all cool, and it's no big deal. So there's just no incentive for orgs to really do that anymore, I don't think. And that's fine. I mean, that's where if our people are getting hired, I'm happy. That's the sort of thing about Moonduck, where it's just it's more of a collective than anything else. So it doesn't really matter if it's Moonduck that they're hiring or talent from Moonduck. It's all pretty much the same fucking thing. Moonduck is made up of the people. You take the people away from Moonduck, what do we have left? It's just a hippo hump in the world. I don't know how much that's worth.
It's humping it real good.
It's the people that make it valuable, though. When you say Moonduck, it's okay, so Suns fans, Slacks, Trent, Zyori, Purge, those kind of people are going to be there. If those people aren't there, it's like, well, then what is this thing? So, I really heavily equate our people to the brand. So I think if you're just looking at it from, well, what's Moonduck done in the last year? We've definitely been very quiet since the Captain's Draft event, and Midas mode is really our big priority now. It's just that song and dance of figuring out exactly when and where, and I know Slacks is on it, so a lot of things still to be figured out, but he's very committed to making it work, and it's his baby, man. He's ready to continue the storyline. He's a lore master, dude. Sursadim and Midas, it's going to get real deep. It's going to get real
good.
Deep.
I'm looking forward to his lore.
Yeah,
this should be nice. Oh, speaking of Slacks, I guess I know we're close to closing out here, but of course Slacks was featured along with Kevin on Twitch Rivals last night. Did you watch any of this? Are you aware?
Well, so I wasn't aware of it happening live, but I saw him mention, actually, we were supposed to have a standing Midas mode meeting during that time, and Slacks
that sounds about right.
had to cancel it because he said, guys, I'm doing this thing for Twitch, and I didn't realize that that's what it was until this morning when I woke up and saw some past tweets about it. So what happened?
So when I was in LA, Grant and Draskell and I are casting MDL, and Grant's like, yeah, I'm actually going to Twitch for the first time. They're flying me out to cast a 1v1 between Purge and Slacks. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I guess it's going to be me and Seltzer. And it was him and Rachel. Is that her name? Rachel Seltzer, I think. I've never really done much of that stuff. Like, I haven't watched Twitch Rivals and stuff, so I don't watch many other esports, at least none that she's done, so I'd never seen her before. But So yeah, it was obviously Purge would destroy him in any sort of a true competition.
Right.
Like if they were evenly matched. So we had things like Purge had to use a fully inverted mouse in one of them. So like up is down, left is right, Bizarro Jerry,
Oh.
that kind of stuff. And he also had to play one-handed Invoker versus Slack's Invoker, and which he beat.
I say that sounds fair. That sounds very fair.
And then now Slacks, he Purge only won 4-3, by the way.
Okay.
So there you go. Slacks took some wins. In fact, did you see his highlight with the 4-stab into Purge?
I saw that one. That was pretty good.
The face of Purge after. Well, I guess yeah, Slacks proved who the better techies is. I could just see how much that still kind of would have destroyed Kevin. Like
how he's like he's professional enough to hold it together because he knows people are watching, but we know him well enough to know inside he's just like, fuck. Like
dude,
that.
He was like 5x his net worth. Like actually. Like Slacks is at like 1,600 net worth when Purge is at like 6K at one point in that game. Oh my god, there's no way Slacks should. I don't know why Purge. Can somebody explain to me why Purge built a fucking Ags? That made no sense to me. I actually had no idea what that was supposed to do in that situation.
It might have just been to level the playing field. It might have just been to
Maybe.
prove to Slacks how bad it is.
I don't know.
I'm not
I
sure.
felt like there was. I don't know why he didn't go for like an Aether lens or something and just start mining the tower. I don't know. Does that even work? Can you Aether lens proximity mines? I assume you can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. I don't play techies though. But they
I've
they
never
have
bought an
30-minute
Aether
techies
lens.
1v1.
I've never bought an Aether lens on techies, so I have no idea.
Well, I will say that would have been the game to do it. If it works, then that would have been sweet to just proximity mine the tower. But
well, today we learned, boys.
oh my god, it was so funny. It was so long. I cleaned the entire kitchen after like Sarah and the baby were put to bed, and I just had my laptop going, and it just kept going. It was endless. Like I can't believe how long and how boring it was.
Now I want to go back.
I felt so bad for Grant, dude. Yeah, it's worth watching.
All right, I'm gonna cue that up this afternoon. That sounds pretty. Grant was casting it.
Yeah.
I can
Grant
only
had to like
imagine.
explain Dota to her, of course, and Grant kept getting like hyped up, like, "All right, this could be it," and then Bert would just run away. There were some pretty hype moments. Like Slacks did such dumb stuff that it kind of worked. Like when Purge was one-handed, he had to shop with the courier, so he ran his Viper over to like the rune area.
Mm-hmm.
But Slacks had a ward on his own high ground and a ward on Purge's high ground, inexplicably. And because of that ward, he saw Purge just run over at like 10% HP. So he bought back TP to his shrine and he killed Purge. And it was pretty hilarious.
I see. So one of those wards that, okay, there's no way he's got a ward here. This doesn't make any sense. Of course there was a ward there.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that was...
It's the
yeah.
genius.
So Purge
of
still
Slacks.
won the Honda head-to-head.
Gotcha.
Oh my god, dude, it's actually worth watching the whole thing because Rachel has to keep throwing in these like Honda buzzwords. I forget what it was. It was like creative, imaginative, just like gamers. Honda, like it's the exact kind of shit. And I was like, man, get me in there. We can do some sweet ads, baby.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about just working other gigs, like being envious of some of those talent like Rachel that just do those kind of random, like, okay, we've got an activation from Honda, we need a host. How do you get those gigs? Somebody said, dude, you could always just sign up for an agency and then your agent would do that. You wouldn't have to be the agent anymore. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that I could do that. That would be interesting. And then I see clips like that though, and I go, is that really me? The imaginative, like all of you gamers out there, Honda. Like, oh god, that stuff just, it's kind of fun, but at the same time, when you have to do that super cheese dick stuff, it's just a little, I don't know,
Isn't
man.
it crazy to think of all the people in the world who, out of all the casters who have ever cast Dota, can you believe that Grant was the one to do it? Isn't that mind-blowing?
It is, dude. How far he has come. Someone needs to do a full biopic of Grant. We need like one of those 45-minute.
I don't think that's good for anyone.
YouTube. Well, I mean, like, it is truly night and day. Like you talk about rags to riches stories and shit like that, but Grant has done the full 180 where if there was one person, let's say 4 years ago, you're like, that guy's never going to be a TI. That guy will never make it. He's way too toxic. He's way too crazy. I've seen him pass out drunk on stream. that guy doesn't exist anymore. He's like basically transformed into the Grant we now love and enjoy. It's marvelous, dude. Change is hard. It's really cool and impressive and admirable what Grant's been able to do with his career, man. I really admire it.
Yeah. No, he was killing it. It was hilarious. He was the perfect guy for it because obviously Grant is by far the most passionate about 1v1s.
Oh, yes. No, I know.
They had the right guy.
They did their research there. There's somebody over at Twitch that's like on the pulse, like, guys, I know the guy for this one.
It was probably Conrad. Let's be real.
You're right. That is the guy.
I guarantee it was Conrad.
Twitch knows, though. So you got to have the guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Well, here we are. I think about time to wrap her up. I don't know what's next on the docket, but rest assured we are having weekly meetings about Midas Mode. I know Slacks has a big content plan once we have a few more things in place. So all that stuff will start to ramp up in the relatively near future. Oh, yeah, the one other thing that I forgot to mention about that question that we tackled that took a pretty long time, Artifact. Was the other problem. If you were paying attention, there were a couple folks at Moonduck that put a lot of effort into Artifact, Suns fan being one of them. And obviously, if you're committing time to one game, there's an opportunity cost with Dota or anything else. So I think the current state of Artifact sort of speaks for itself. And at this point, hard to argue that going, quote, all in on Artifact was not really a great decision, unless something really changes in the near future to revive that game. Brutal. So Suns fan has been a little quiet recently. I think he's kind of recollecting and strategizing about what his, next big move or play is, what he dives into. And, Slacks is always busy, but he also put a huge amount of time and effort into Artifact, and I don't know what his game plan is there. Maybe that's why we're working on Midas Mode. I don't know.
Yeah, is that what saved Midas Mode, Artifact?
But I mean, for real though, that played a factor in what's Moonduck been working on. We've always been open to expanding into other games. We've never labeled ourselves as like Dota exclusive forever. We thought about Overwatch, but none of us really liked playing it that much. We've thought about other card games, and none of us really got into it all that much. We thought Artifact was, we can get into this game and we're gonna love it. And half of us played it and kind of went, I don't know. I couldn't see myself casting it. I mean, I played 100 hours, and that was my kind of, I don't want to cast this game. I wouldn't enjoy it, Even Purge put a fair bit of time into Artifact.
I mean, Purge.
He was one of the most popular Artifact streamers.
Yeah, Purge, Sunsfan, and Slacks all still enjoy Artifact. I can't say I can see I could enjoy Artifact. I guess I haven't really gone for it, but it's a little bit, I don't know. I think I have the same feeling a lot of people have about the game, where it's just like, I think I'm just going to play Dota if I'm at my computer.
Yeah. Especially with auto chess now. Just like, dude, if I'm in the mood to play something Dota-esque but not actually do mechanics or have that sense of urgency.
Yeah. It is kind of a dumb comparison, but at the same time, it's not. Like, I want to call it a dumb comparison, but honestly, it does kind of fill that exact thing. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, my Dota client's open, and I'm looking after the baby, so I don't want to ruin 9 other people's game. But I can just, grind some auto chess.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not a fair comparison because they're totally different games with totally different purposes, totally different levels of polish and all that. And I think Artifact fills a niche that auto chess doesn't. But for most people that were excited about Artifact, I think that's certainly what I was looking forward to. Something Dota related that I can play when I'm not in the mood to grind MMR or, quote, try hard in that same 40 minutes of just being on. Whereas card games are just a little bit less intense. To me, Dota chess fills that perfectly, and it's easier. I mean, for me, Artifact was too hard. I'm not that good at card games. I didn't get it. I didn't sit down and go, okay, I know what I'm doing. I could figure out Hearthstone a little bit. You play 100 hours of Hearthstone, there's a couple decks that you're really going to know pretty well. 100 hours of Artifact, I know like one deck pretty well, and it's the stupid cheesy economy one with the black and red heroes that are super easy and just sit there and don't die.
Man, Slacks almost says 1,000 hours in Artifact, actually.
So
does Suns fan. They're both close to 1,000. They are the highest on my list.
I wonder how much
40
Lumi
hours
has.
just this week.
I bet Lumi and Hotbid and a couple other people at BTS have a comparable amount.
Oh, yeah, I bet Lumi will be more. I don't have Lumi on my friends list, though.
Yeah, same. Because I know they put a lot of time into it. I mean, you'd see that all the streams and stuff. Like, it's crazy how much effort has gone into Artifact and how little traction it got. Do you think there's any salvaging for that game? Do you think if they made it free to play, that would fix it?
I think there will be a long-term salvage. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
I wonder because I mean, if you make it free to play, that will create a surge of people that that there will be new users logging into the game.
I don't know if it's. I'm sure eventually it will go free to play. I'm not sure how. I think they would try other stuff first. My guess would be it's more like the gameplay is just and the gameplay and like the idea of achieving something. That dopamine hit that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem with the Artifact in that sense is that it's very long. Like the games take a long time.
Yeah.
So I think they need to change like. They need like this whole battle pass idea and system and like, achieving goals and everything. People are really into that right now. And it would be pretty good for something like that for Artifact. They need a true ladder system so people can feel like they're, achieving ranks and stuff like that. And I guess I don't know quite. I need to play more of it to really understand more past that. And
it's definitely changed since I last played. I mean, I haven't played any of probably the last 2 big patches I don't think I've touched. I haven't really touched it since launch.
Yeah.
I think the other aspect about auto chess that trumps it is because you're playing against 8 people, it has that little taste of battle royale feel that's very popular right now.
Yeah.
Where it's not just the binary, I beat this guy or I lost to this guy, but it's okay, I got 5th. I didn't do that well, but I still beat some people. That makes me want to come back. That kind of knowing, hey, I didn't do that well, but there's people worse than me. It has a psychological effect compared to just losing 3 games of Artifact in a row where you're like, man, this game fucking sucks. I don't want to play anymore. It's just demoralizing. And I don't get demoralized with auto chess unless I do real bad.
Think big update and then mobile will be another good one.
Oh, I keep forgetting about mobile. Yeah, we haven't even touched the mobile thing yet with Artifact, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some hope there. Well, a conversation for another time. We will try to get a What the Duck in at some point in the relatively near future. I don't know when or where, but I will try to push the boys. That's my promise to all you Moonduck fans out there. Push the boys and girls behind the scenes.
So bye.
I'm on it, guys. I'm on it. But yeah, until next time, you'll find this on the Moonduck YouTube, audio on Zyori.tv per usual, podcast on iTunes and Google Play, but still, unfortunately, not on Spotify. They don't like that I use a private server, and it bothers me because I have friends that work at Spotify, and they still won't help me fix it. I don't know how to get this fucking podcast on Spotify. Please, for the love of God, Spotify, I'm begging you. Everybody wants it. We want it. That's my little rant to end this thing. Seriously, every episode now, I get at least one message. Hey, when's this going to be on Spotify? Is this going to be on Spotify? And I'm like, believe me, more hours have gone into trying to get this thing on Spotify than should have gone into something so seemingly so easy. So I digress. Trent, have a lovely Friday. I hope you get into some fun games this afternoon.
You know what? I think I will. Sounds like a good idea.